When I look back and see all the life changes I've been through since my diagnosis day 8 years ago, I can only look back and say, wow, what the heck happened? Hi, it's David from Life with Parkinson's. If you're new here, welcome. We hope you'll consider subscribing. Everyone else, thank you for your continued love and support. Today we're going to discuss 3 life changes I had to accept about this crazy world, just to keep my sanity and my mentality together with this crazy chronic illness. And remember, I'm not a doctor. I'm only another person with Parkinson's trying to pass on the information as best as I can. A lot of this video is in my opinion only. We have a lot of things to talk about this episode, so let's get right to it. Mark Twain once said, "Comparison is the death of joy." This week someone commented with that quote, and it just hit me so deep. Just because Mark Twain's words are so applicable and so real to what I've been going through. Yet when I hit these anniversaries every year, I always look back and I always feel a little bit lost and a little disappointed because my symptoms have progressed a little bit and my resilience has gone down a little bit. Well, that's what it feels like anyhow. I get these little periods where it's like, oh, poor me, I've got Parkinson's. And then I have to pull myself together. Well, Haley has to try and help me pull myself together so I can carry on again and just get through life. But looking back is so self-destructive. Like Mark Twain just hits it right on the head. Comparison is the death of joy. If I compare myself to who I used to be, I'm always going to pick the old me. I'm always going to pick pre-diagnosis Dave because life is not meeting my expectations. Life is not going the way I want it to. So I can imagine the past as brilliant as I want. I can imagine the past as great as I want because there's just no comparison with everyday reality. And who wouldn't want the past? It's when we could work. We could work overtime. We had money. We could get up and walk whenever we wanted to. We could hold our bladder. We could go pee when it was our decision to do that. I mean, who wouldn't want that life? It was so much better. So much better, but I can't dwell on the past. I can't dwell on the sadness. It's just too overwhelming. I can't keep looking over my shoulder. I just can't keep, I can't turn my head far enough anymore. But I can't keep looking over my shoulder. You know why? No one else is going that way. They're all going forward. I got to go that way as well. So I just feel Mark Twain just nailed it on the head, and thank you for putting that comment on with that quote. I really appreciate it. The question of who I am now just basically comes down to I'm a person with Parkinson's fighting as hard as I can, fighting as deep as I can, and just with all my might every day just to make it through day to day and appreciate every moment I have. So the first life expectation I had to change was my disposable income would go down. And this is a tough one because I was diagnosed at 43 and we were a one-income family, and I was able to go out and work overtime whenever I wanted to. And that enabled Haley to stay home and help and raise the kids, and which I was happy to do. That's never been a regret. Never been a regret at all. I was grateful to do it, honored to do it. But, we were a one-income family. So when you get that shocking news, it's like at age 43, you got to prepare for retirement now. It's like, seriously? We got to prepare for retirement now? You've got to be kidding me. I'm only 43, but it did come to pass. It did happen that way. And we did the best we could, and I'm very happy with what we did. But it's still, our disposable income has gone down. With inflation going up the last few years, it just keeps shrinking. So when you're on a disability pension with a very, very fixed income and not much variation there, it always just seems we got to cut back more, we got to cut back more, we got to cut back more. But it comes to the point of how much can you actually cut back? And if you have an idea, let me know. We could use any advice. One thing I noticed after diagnosis day, it wasn't really right away, but Haley noticed it before diagnosis day, was that my daily available energy level had gone down. She said I would come home right after work. This is before diagnosis, eat dinner and go straight to bed. And it was one of those naps, if you know what I mean, one where you go lay down, you sleep for an hour or two, and you don't feel any better at all. You don't feel any well rested. So chronic fatigue setting in. the drain on my daily available energy, for me, it just kind of snuck up on me over time. It was in the form of like fatigue, depression, and apathy, the three big enemies that we're going to talk about in the next section of the video. But I believe, and in my opinion, it boils down to something called adenosine triphosphate. And this is something I've worked really hard on. If you've heard me talk about ATP, I believe it's one of the most important things that we need to learn about with Parkinson's disease. And near the end of the video, I'm going to put a link to a video up here somewhere about ATP, adenosine triphosphate. If you hadn't heard me talk about it, I strongly suggest you check out that video at the end. I've gone from those terrible naps, and you know the ones I'm talking about when you have chronic fatigue, where you wake up and it's like, maybe I should sleep another hour because I can't even get off the couch. And it's giving me the energy I need, and I hope it can do something for you as well. Yeah, so now after fixing the ATP problem in my body, I've been able to get out and walk like sometimes twice a day. I'll walk 4 kilometers in the morning, and then I'll do another walk in the afternoon. But remember, this did not happen overnight. This is something I had to persist with for a long time to get where I am. And I've been posting updates on my walking blog at my website. Link in the description below if you want to check it out. So what was happening to me with my ATP problem is a loop around my complex is like 1 kilometer. So I would go for my walk, and like halfway through, the first kilometer, I would start to feel tired. And then as I would come up to the 3/4 mark, it's like, I got to get back to the house. By the time I got back to the house and stumbled through the front door, I was done. I was completely done and utterly exhausted. And thankfully I had some help from a YouTube friend who talked to me about the ATP, and that's when I learned that, hey, I got to make sure my adenosine triphosphate is all stocked up and there's a reliable delivery system in my body working with my mitochondria. Last part of the video, where we are going to talk about the worst enemy out there for Parkinson's disease, in my opinion, and that is the curse of free time. Being retired, especially at an early age now, where I have all this free time, I find it can be very destructive if we're not careful to manage it, and I found I've run into problems. So the first problem I ran into was addictive behaviors, where I got addicted to a cell phone game a few months ago. It happened very quickly. It was overwhelming. It was very embarrassing because I couldn't stop playing it, and if you don't believe me that addictive behaviors are out there and they affect people with Parkinson's, I guarantee you that they do. And in my opinion, if you're having struggles, reach out to your caregiver. And if you're a caregiver and you feel your person with Parkinson's is having problems, reach out to them as well and get help and get it solved right away before it gets worse, because it's more than likely that the person with Parkinson's wants to stop. They just don't know how, or they can't. And thankfully I have Haley, who was a great help in getting me off that game, and I really appreciate it. Thank you, sweetheart. The second thing about free time I don't like is we've got depression, apathy, and chronic fatigue to fight against. And we talked about chronic fatigue in the last section a little bit, about ATP and energy. But apathy is something I've had a bit of a struggle with lately, and that's when I make a list of things to do. And I've done the thing with the day timer for a long time now, and I find it the best way to keep organized and keep on top of things. But when I make a list and there's too many items on it, it feels really overwhelming, and I don't know why that is. Because I know the jobs on there, or the things that I need to do for the home or for the channel, aren't very big and aren't very long. But I'll be like, oh my goodness, I'll never get through this list. It's going to take me days. And then I'll force myself to do something. And it's like, 10-15 minutes, that's done. I'll do another one, it's done. But then I'll come back to the list the next day, and it's like, it's so overwhelming. So yeah, I think the apathy, for me anyhow, is something that's kind of crept up, and I've got to watch and stay on control over, just to stay motivated and keep doing things. Now, the problem with depression, depression is not really a problem for me at the moment, but there's certain things that having all this time to sit on the couch and in my chair and just dream about life in general, or the past, and like Mark Twain says, comparison is the death of joy. So yeah, thinking about the past too long can be very self-destructive. But what do you do when you have all this extra free time and you're tired and you need to lie down and you go into an off? For me, that off is just something I got to try and avoid. I've got to get back on and take care of my thoughts and be mindful of what I'm thinking about. So the last thing I want to talk about are the tools that we have to fight back against the curse of free time. And definitely diet. Diet plays a big part in my self-esteem and my self-worth and just my overall well-being. When I eat good, I feel good. And the big thing is exercise. Like, this is one of the big preconceptions I've run into out there, is that exercise affects all of our Parkinson's symptoms in a positive way. Medication does not treat all of our symptoms, and I don't feel a lot of people know that. It doesn't treat all our symptoms. It's actually very limited. But the exercise covers our whole body, all our symptoms, and is the best thing that we have that we can do. And it's the best way to fight back against free time and feel better. So the link to the video I was talking about earlier about ATP should be up here now. So once you're done here, I'll see you over there. Thank you for continuing to take this journey together. Thank you for liking, watching, sharing this video with your family and friends. Please leave a comment or a question below. I'll see you on the next one. Have a good day. Goodbye.